Hello, Pastor.
Hi, Pastor.
Well, we know that one of the indications of a very healthy church is that it has a lot going on, and we certainly have a lot going on here at Pinehurst in the next couple of months, don't we?
Yeah, and it, as you said, Pastor Kay, it's indicative of a healthy church. Is a lot of life happening. I tell folks a lot that unhealthy churches have a lot of meetings and very few activities. Healthy churches are the opposite. We have very few meetings and a lot of activities, and we certainly fall into that healthy category.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One event we want to make sure that we tell you all about is our very own revival coming up on October 9th. That is a Sunday, so we'll be having all of our services come together. We'll be outside under a tent. We'll be having our praise band lead us in worship that day. But all three services will be gathering together at 10:30. We'll have some contemporary hymns, and Pastor Jabe will be preaching, and it'll be just an excellent time to gather all as one body.
Yeah, oftentimes, here, because we have three worship services, sometimes it feels like we have three different congregations, but that's not the case. We are one here at PUMC, and this worship service will allow us the opportunity to be one together in worship. The music that we are planning is going to be familiar to all. It's traditional with a little contemporary twist, with one exception that's more just simply contemporary, but still very easy to sing. And then there's fried chicken afterwards, because you can't have a revival or a camp meeting, because it's another word that we use to describe the same thing. You can't have a camp meeting or revival without fried chicken.
Without fried chicken.
Yeah, so we have a big tent, and all are invited. It's for all three services to come together and be as one. So please come and have your spirit fed and also your tummy fed too, with some good fried chicken.
Another event we have is a little more competitive than a camp meeting. What's that?
That would be the tradition, unlike most others, the Pastors Cup. It's coming up soon, friends. It's going to be in November on Friday the 18th. We will have a shotgun start at 9 o'clock at Seven Lakes Golf Club. And so this year the Pastors Cup is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a fundraising event. It's simply a fellowship event. Still competitive. And with all of the, controversy of last year, this year is going to be even more interesting than before. But we have some really fun promotional material coming out. It's going to come out. One's debuting on September 18th. Make sure you're here to see that. It's an actual documentary about, the events of last year. And so it's really, really fun. It's a good way to be church together. Have a little fun, play a little bit. It's good.
And there will be lunch after that as well.
Yeah, lunch after that. So the lunch is included in the price, and you get to order from the menu at Seven Lakes. They have such a good, variety of food, and you can order whatever you want that's on the menu. It also includes a beverage, and then your mulligans are included. We're not selling extra mulligans. It's just a different way of doing a church golf tournament, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm excited. Excited for the promotional material too. We've worked really hard on this, and I think everybody's going to appreciate it.
Yes, they'll love it.
Yeah.
Well, we love getting feedback from you all on what you want to hear in these church chats, this churchy stuff, and you all really appreciated when we shared what we've been reading, so we're doing that again this time as well. I've been rereading the book Thief. I first read it in high school. It follows the story of Liesel, a girl who is growing up in Nazi Germany, her kind of just life in that time with her foster family. She's learning to read and write. She's making friends, and it's very good. So I'm reading it again.
Good stuff. I like rereading stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And speaking of, I'm rereading An Altar in the World, which is from Barbara Brown Taylor. Pastor Katie will be leading a study later in the month. It begins later in the month on another book of Barbara Brown Taylor's, but you can kind of see this one, An Altar in the World. It's one of Barbara Brown Taylor's bestsellers. And so if I had to sum it all up, I would basically say that oftentimes we look for God elsewhere, whereas what Barbara Brown Taylor suggests is that the holy place that you're trying to get to encounter God is already right underneath your feet. So she talks about the big red X that marks the spot, and that big red X is right underneath where your feet currently are. So holiness is all around us. And the other one that I am rereading, which I don't think I read the entire thing, but just parts of it, is The Divine Conspiracy. It's by Dallas Willard. And so it is kind of a guidebook to discipleship, and a very good one. It's thicker. It's also a more difficult read, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And it, too, kind of points to the reality that we do not have to wait for a trip to heaven to be able to experience life in the kingdom. We can experience life in the kingdom now. It just takes a different approach than a predominant approach to most things in life. And so it's got a really funny story about how we live in a society, and I shared this one with you because I think it's given a good idea of Dallas Willard's pushback on a lot of the ways that we operate, claiming to be disciples but not acting in truly Christ-following type of ways. He said, what kind of world would you have little children sing, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener, if I were an Oscar Mayer Wiener, everybody would, want to, whatever. And it's like, what kind of world would we sing that and have our children sing that, and most of the adults would be like, oh, this is really cute and fun, and then he goes on to say, what does it mean to be an Oscar Mayer Wiener, and why would you want to be one? What kind of world would this happen? And then he points out, well, it's this world. It's this world. We do a lot of silly things that are counterintuitive to a life of discipleship. And he points a lot of that out here really, really well. So, it's kind of hard to experience the kingdom when the thing that you strive to be is an Oscar Mayer Wiener. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But speaking of reading, back, it's probably been 6-7 months ago, I put out the State of the Church address, and then a couple months later, a letter to the congregation, just kind of forewarning everyone of, the conversations that were going to be happening through different media outlets as this schism is a churchy word we use to describe what's happening within the United Methodist Church. Nothing has changed in terms of, there is no agreed upon separation. Some congregations are in the process of disaffiliation. Just in the past few weeks, we've had an article in the Wall Street Journal that was written from a place of bias, but did provide some fact. But again, as we have warned in the past, what you read and what you hear on these major media outlets is never going to be totally representative of the truth. It's more nuanced than that. And then, of course, this Sunday, a full front page on the Raleigh News and Observer. I'm going to be honest and tell you that I have not read it yet, but based off of the sub-headlines, I get what they're getting at, and their slant on the issue seems to me to be perhaps different than the one from the Wall Street Journal. Nevertheless, the fact remains that for us at PUMC, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We're we're not in a position to get involved in the divisiveness. It's not who we are. It's not what we're about. We are not that church. We never have been. I don't suspect there will be a day that we become such a church. There's a lot of details that need working out, and there will be plenty of time for those details to be worked out. But right now, we're not voting on nothing. And if someone has led you to believe that we are required to vote on something, they're leading you astray. It's not the case. And if you hear that somebody in some other place is having to vote because of some imposed deadline, well, that's in some other place. That's not here. I hope you know and trust we are a quality enough staff, and we have quality enough lay leadership that when the time comes that you need to be made aware, we're going to make you aware of what's going on. We do have our conference has a special annual conference called session to vote on those who wish to disaffiliate coming up in November. We'll report back to you what happened, how many, those types of things. If you want to know more about the process, please check out the conference website. Our leaders there have been very transparent. They've also published several other, myth-busting type of articles because there's so much false information out there. And then to, make matters worse, some of this false information is being put out maliciously to try to make us look bad as United Methodist. But, my door's open, friends. My door's open, and, talk to me as opposed to perhaps having rumblings with your friends about what you've read or seen in other places. Again, we are not withholding anything from you. We just want to continue to thrive here at PUMC, and we are thriving, Pastor Katie. We truly are, in all the ways that are measurable and immeasurable. I mean, if you look at the measurables in terms of people and the money that we are being blessed with to use for ministry purposes here, like we are exceeding expectations right now. But the immeasurable ways too, the ways that lives are being impacted and changed, disciples are being made, all that's happening here at a very high level, like so far above average, guys. We are exceptional, and we're not going to jeopardize that by getting involved in things that are not affecting the big red X that's underneath our feet. You got anything you want to add?
I don't think so. You covered a lot of good points. Get your Methodist news from Methodist sources and ask Jabe if you have questions. My door is also always open. You explain things a bit better than I do, I think. But we are here for you, and we are glad that we're getting to serve and do ministry alongside all of you. So let's just keep doing the good work that we are doing.
Yeah. And I would add that as that November meeting that I mentioned, as it approaches and then after it passes, there are going to be more articles. There's going to be more stuff on local news, friends. And they're not going to tell you everything just as it is. We will, okay? We will. In the meantime, as Katie said, we're so fortunate to be in ministry together. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. The fruit that we are bearing here for the kingdom of God is abundant, and we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep doing that. We have no control over so many other things in so many other places. We do have control over our local reality here, and our local reality here is that we are thriving, and we are going to continue to do such.
Absolutely.
Yep. Amen. Yep.
Thanks.
Play golf, read books, come, be revived, eat fried chicken, and God bless you all.